Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Men Who Cry podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, review, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. If you don't do those things, I'm going to assume you don't wash your hands when you leave the bathroom. On today's edition,
Right.
before we get to there, first I would like to say an apologies to everyone. The last podcast that we did with my man Carrie was great. It was a great idea. The audio might have been a little bit out of touch. So I apologize to anyone who went through there. If you did, listen through that, I appreciate you so much because the conversation was great. Your boy just made a little bit of audio errors, which is on me. So it won't happen again. But on today's episode, the second returning guest, we have Nick coming back on, my producer. How are you doing today, man?
Good, man. Just surviving out here, man. We got what's going on right now? The Heat versus the Bulls.
Yeah, you
Right
don't need to
now,
pay
I was
attention to that.
checking
The
it.
Heat are smacking them. So
Yeah. I just checked into that, But other than that, no, the levels are good. Things are good, man. How you doing?
I'm okay. Just trying to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
Make it. I'm day to day.
Day to day.
Someone made a point of like, once you hit like a certain age, like day to day is just like a lifestyle. So
Right.
I'm just day to day. Quick
Now
question
we're
before we get.
oh,
Go ahead.
talk to me. No, talk to me.
I was actually gonna say, do you like the play-in?
I love the plan. It makes the 6 through 8 seed more intriguing. Like it makes me as a fan want to watch. Because before, like for the last like couple years, you've been hearing talk, and more so lately from NBA players about how we have to shorten the season and all that other stuff. But historically, like when it comes to like late March to April, to like mid-April, like right now, I wouldn't really watch the NBA. Like I would watch it if like there was a squad like that needed to win a couple games to be the eighth seed or whatever, or like some stuff with seeding sometimes. But this makes me really want to watch. Like this makes me like intrigued. What about you?
I love the play-in. I think it has good and bad qualities about which I feel like I've talked about before.
What's the
Um,
bad to you?
So
Like,
the
what's the
bad for
bad?
me, obviously, it's funny. This year is not a good example of it. Is that I feel like the bad is that it squashes the trade market, and that
In
it
what
makes it
sense?
harder. So I think it makes harder for teams to punt on the season because it's harder to tank, right? But this year is not a good example of that because we just saw how many All NBA players get traded. De'Aaron Fox got traded. Luka got traded. Zach LaVine got traded. What's my man's name? I said Fox, right? It was like
Fox, you said
five
Fox.
guys. Five
Yep,
guys who
yep.
like made an all-star team in the last like couple of years. You could say
Uh-huh.
Chris Middleton got traded too, but I don't think
Facts.
he's in this bucket anymore as a player. But
Mm-hmm.
so this year kind of puts a fly in the ointment for what I was trying to say. But
Mm-hmm.
um, that was my number one criticism of it. Even though I'm like you, I think it's better than it puts more on the table than it takes off. The second thing I think is the part that's like year to year is you sometimes just get blowouts, right? And I don't know what causes the blowout. I don't know if it's just bad matchups, team gets hot shooting, team doesn't come out focused. I don't know what it is, but there are just some games that we had. Like I remember in the very beginning, at least in the East, it was like every playing game was a blowout.
I remember that. Yeah,
Versus what
right,
we had the other day
right,
with the Golden State and Memphis, which looked like a blowout, and then it turned
yeah,
out to be a great game at the end.
right.
And so I'm all in favor of the plan. I think anything you can do, because again, money wise, they're never gonna take away games, at least in my opinion. Um, and so I feel as if you're going to keep it at 82 games, and like you said, you have April and late March has a lot of different things, whether it's the college basketball finals for both men and women. You have the WNBA draft that did, I think it was the second most viewed draft that they've had ever. The Masters, like there's so much stuff that happens, I think at the end of April, or the end of March rather, and early April that makes it so like hectic for the NBA to get views is because like you just said, right? What does it matter if you're the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, right? Like the game 77 might not mean as much to you. However, because of, I think, what the Heat did a couple years ago, getting to the finals from it. The Lakers were in the play-in a couple times, got to the Western Conference Finals. The Warriors might even make a run to the Western Conference Finals coming out of the play-in.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
it's. I think it does more than what some people attribute to. It's just you have to deal with, the Chicagos and the Heats of the world who are like several games under 500. They'll be lucky to win a game against either Cleveland or Boston. Well, one of those two teams might play Cleveland. They would have to beat Atlanta. But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on the plan.
Go
ahead.
Oh, no, go.
No, the thing was like, I was actually going to talk about the two Nicos this week. I feel like the Nicos have had 2 weeks of interesting talk. I'm going to start with the one in college, and I've tried to practice this guy's name. If you want to look up and just double check my pronunciation, because I do not mess up people's names. It's Tennessee quarterback Nico Amalavia.
Yeah, I think you might have gotten it right. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure I said it once right. And then so we knew. So I'm going to call him Nico the rest of the time. His mama named Nico. I'm going to call him Nico.
Yeah, mama named Nico.
Yeah. And so for those who don't know, this story is a little bit old now. Nico was the quarterback for Tennessee. They made the playoffs last year. They got smoked against Ohio State. But they were at least, I feel like, considered to be one of the teams that were going to compete in the SEC. You never know. Definitely make the playoffs. If you're in the SEC and you win about 9-10 games, you're probably guaranteed to get into the playoff now. And basically the story is that the Athletic is reporting that Nico basically had a hold-in where he was like, I need more money from the team. I guess he grossed an NIL money of reportedly over $2 million. And I guess he was trying to kick that up to $4 million. And the team basically told him to go scratch. And now, through channels or however long it took, he's now going to be on UCLA. Will he be the starting quarterback of the UCLA Bruins for the season comes? Who knows? It's spring. But that's how it went down. And I think for me, the idea is it's bigger than college football. And I don't want to repeat a lot of things that people have said. I remember Ryan Clark said that this isn't really between Nico and Tennessee. It's an NCAA issue. My point is kind of like, this isn't an NCAA issue. This is a college issue. You get what I'm saying? Like, walk with me for a sec. To me, the NIL deals, or when NIL came in, it very much seemed like a Band-Aid on a broken leg. You let people basically come in and be essentially the middleman between the athletes and the colleges versus colleges just paying the players. And I think once NIL got started, and I think what it seems like is that the NCAA wanted the Congress to rule on this, and Congress was like, nah, this is your mess. You guys figure it out. And it's made a fucking mess. I don't get why a starting quarterback in the SEC, at minimum, you would think if he has a good year, he's going to go in the third round, second round. If he has a great season, obviously he'll be in the first round. Because we always need quarterbacks in the NFL. And I feel like he completely screwed himself because you went for a short-term game and might have messed up your long-term future. Now, he might be good. Like, he was able to find a team because he is talented. But you don't know what kind of system or season he's going to have. Like, it wasn't like this guy had a pick of a litter, because you clearly see this man went into the situation with zero leverage. And so I guess my thought for you is that, why is it that we basically have a version of the Wild Wild West and no one seems equipped to rein what looks like to be a very untenuous situation in?
I think some of these athletes are making more money than they thought they would ever see in their lives before they got to the pros. Once you tell a young person who might not not everyone in NIL or in college basketball, football, or whatever are broke or whatever, but like $1 million is $1 million. 100 grand is still 100 grand. So after NIL, these athletes have become more of like pros. They're more of that now. And someone was telling Nico, you can get more. You took the team from this to that, and yeah, they're offering this, but you can get this. And it's just like when you said his name, and I went to go look up the uh, pronunciation. Allegedly, he's taking less money at UCLA. Right there, you know? And like you said earlier, he might not even start. At Tennessee, you were the man. Like you were like, unless you got hurt, knock on wood, he was gonna start. And now that's up in the air. And it's just like, yeah, like the bag might have been there, but it's like now you're gonna sign for less. Granted, you're going from Tennessee to LA, and like I live maybe 10 minutes away from where UCLA plays. It's great, but the situation might not be great, and that might hurt your, like you said, that might hurt his draft stock because I think he's going to be eligible for the draft next year.
Yeah. And I think also the
So,
bigger point is that, just talking about that point, is that college football has long since stopped caring about the student athlete. It is
yeah,
pay to
100%.
play, right? The fact that I just saw someone made a point. The women's Big Ten tournament was between USC and UCLA in Indianapolis. Why the fuck are they in Indianapolis? Right? Like, that's strictly based on money, right? And so the fact that we've kind of now have zero guidance, not just that, there's no one even like that's like a real governing person. You're going to have a CBA or some form of like actual standardized contracts to be able to get this done. Like, there was even a report in the Athletic, I guess, saying that the Tennessee, before they went to play Ohio State, they were about to have a mutiny because allegedly they were saying we only got paid for 12 games and we're not playing a 13th game. And it's like, what? And again, this is not even old man on the lawn. I have been someone long time be like, yo, y'all should be getting paid something, right? The amount of billions that the NCAA rakes in every single year and people were getting zero money or essentially food stamps was ridiculous. However, somebody got to be in your life. And this is what I feel like a coach should be, and giving you good advice. Like, hey, man, you can leave, but I'm telling you, if you stay, you'll get more money in the long run. You're not risking, even if you risk injury, right? It's not like you're not going to potentially get injured when you go somewhere else. And second, you already secured $2 million. I can't feel bad for you when you got $2 million at 19, 20, 21 years old, where some people might not make $2 million in their lifespan. And so the fact that we've gotten this when $2 million is not enough, and this is another thing, right? People have, I think, lost all reference of money, right? I don't know if I said this on the pod or not, but when Jalen Brunson signed his new extension with the Knicks, right?
Oh, I know where you're going with this one.
Okay, he got $136 million, right? And people were freaking out, right? How'd you do this? You could have left more money on the table, yada, 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 right? To some degree, I get it. It's owners. You want to make sure that you're maximizing your dollars every single time you go out there and play. But you're not about to convince me that this man is basically playing for food stamps and he got $250 million in his pocket. He's getting $250 million from the Knicks alone. I didn't count anything he made from the Dallas Mavericks.
Yep, for the Mavericks, yep.
Like, you can't, we've in a weird space now where you want me to talk about this man like he's poor. So I think that I really hope that this works out for him, you know, and that he's able to turn this into a great season and that he's a first round pick and everything goes well. But my brother, you have taken on so much more risk than you really needed to for, like you said, less money.
Take it, yeah, man. Like and this always reminds me of Dennis Schroeder when he got the offer from the Lakers, the 4 year, the 84 million, and he was like, "Nah, I think I deserve more." Goes to Boston for a year, shits the bed, and is like, "Damn, I got offered for." And then he even said that at the time. I'm not sure if he has the same reps still, but he was like, "Yo, my reps told me not to take the deal," and he was like, so when you scale that down to these dudes who play for like Tennessee or like the like wherever, they're being told by these reputable who are like their mom, their dad, or their agents, their man, like the homies, yo, you can get more money over there, you get more money. And it's just like I want people to get their money, but that's not how it's supposed to work. Now I don't have an answer because like you said earlier about like the CBA, but it's just like, and maybe I haven't sat with the idea that long, but like if you're take like Joe Burrow for example, by my estimation, he should have been making like 10 million a year his last like year at oh, LSU. But if he's able to get that money, what's a guy like Nico supposed to get? Because the scale is like Nico would be here, Burrow would be here, or he'd be up here. So I think once they figure out like how to put a value on said names, but how you even go about that, we could talk about it. I like maybe you have an idea, but I don't really know. But
Well, my initial idea was pretty simple for basketball. I would say this for any athlete in the NCAA. I would say like this, right? And some of them is different, like swimming. You can leave. You don't have to go to college at all. Blah blah blah.
yeah.
I would say this. I would say, look, you, no matter who you are signing a contract to be at this school for 3 years minimum. We will get you any NIL deal you get on the side. That's on you. You work that out with your agent. It's a sponsorship deal like they have in the pros. But we are paying you whatever the set value that we set. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And maybe that's negotiable with each and every player. Maybe it's like, yo, quarterbacks, we give them $1 million. Running backs, we give them 100,000, whatever that number is, right? But you lock them in, you there. The only way you can break this contract is if the coach gets fired, leaves, or there is some outstanding medical emergency. Your mother's dying. You lost your home. There would have to be like a case, a broad case that you bring up to the NCAA. It's like, I have to change schools because I want to be close to my family. Like this.
X, Y, yeah.
Exactly. X, Y, Z, whatever it is. And that's it. And
But
you're
let me
done.
ask you this though. They've already told people that, yo, you can get whatever you want. Whatever that you ask for the most part, we'll give it to you. So do you think there would be some type of mutiny within the NCAA if they then say, hey, actually, we want to limit how much you guys make?
I would literally, because here's my thing. I don't look at it as that's limiting what they make. I think you force the schools to pay these players as what it should be. Your employees, let's not play this game that you're going to class. You could go to class, it's on you. Like, pay them. And like, yes, schools, not get, do a car sales for a couple G's, all stuff. Pay them money. Mm-hmm. And you got boosters, all this stuff. Just have they already hiring like athletes to be like assistant GMs and all this stuff to run the budget, right? You have a GM, be like, yo, we're paying for this, this, and this. We need this, this, and that, right? And again, I'm fine with the transfer portal so long as that you limit the amount of people who can jump into it, right? So long as that you have, again, like I said, it's a 3-year player. So if they're like, you know what, I need 1 more year of experience. Let me go somewhere else. I need to put some more tape on. I'm going to UCLA. Boom. He's there. It works out for the school. You don't have to really develop a player at that point. Like he's more seasoned versus getting someone from high school. And everyone seems, and again, there's coaches that are fired every year. So there'll just be a robust market of kids that are going to be like, well, I'm out. I'm going here, right? I feel like it's the reason Saban left. Jay Wright doesn't play anymore. Roy Williams. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not recruiting you every 5 minutes. You know?
What I
And
don't
it
like
just
about that though, what I didn't like about especially Nick Saban, he went on this whole tour about how NIL is bad for the game, whatever. But he was doing what NIL does now. He was just doing it, openly, but like illegally, but more so of an open secret that they
yeah,
were
I
paying
think
these
he didn't
guys.
like the fact that because it became out and that places like Texas, because Texas is just gonna have more money than Alabama. Their
Yeah,
GDP's
yeah,
bigger.
yeah.
So it's like, and you got like crazy boosters, right? Like there should now be, because now there's such a class difference, I think, in the
Mhm.
NCAA. Like a team like Texas should never either miss the tournament or miss the playoff. Unless your quarterback like snapped his leg, you had a whole bunch of crazy injuries. You're getting the best talent in college, and that's a big difference in college. Like college, you can win 11 games with Ed Orgeron. I don't think's a good coach. And he might have had the greatest football team I've ever seen. They might have
LSU.
4 guys make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Burrow. Hold on.
Burrow,
Burrow.
Chase, Jefferson, and
Then
Stingley.
Stingley. Yeah. Yeah. Stingley. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
right there. I don't think Patrick Queen wasn't on that team. But that's 4 guys that might make the
2020,
Pro
right?
Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Nah. Facts.
Like, and again, this is the same guy who's like, go Tigers. Right? So the fuck, man, like the amount of just laziness I just find in college football just to be truly astounding, and just the fact that like no one's willing to ever be like the bad guy or the guy in the room, be like, yo, this isn't smart, just makes no sense to me. Speaking of that, speaking of things that don't make sense to me, transitioning to the other Nico Harris. Yes, shout out Sneaky Nico.
Sneaky Nico.
There was a press conference, if you want to call it that, held by the Dallas Mavericks with Nico Harris, and I'm not sure the other person that was in the room, but it was Nico and someone else. And I already knew shit was off tip when they were like, but it can't bring any cameras
It was
or
an
recorders.
ISIS meeting, bro. It was an ISIS meeting.
Bro, first of all, how do you get, and again, this is someone who roots for the Knicks who don't have any meetings. So this is somewhat like, you know what I'm saying? Like the manipulation of the media at times, I think, with these programs and these companies is wild. But it's so stupid because they were going to write what you said. So what exactly was the point of not, because you didn't want to become a meme? I think he didn't want to become a meme.
Yeah, it's memes. I was just about to say it was the meme. Bro, being a meme has really, like, we have to have a whole other episode about in sports being a meme. Like, you remember when we were growing up and like a guy would go for a dunk and most people would go to block it? Like, if probably 100% of the time. Now, I wonder what the actual number is of people that don't go for blocks anymore because they're afraid to be a meme.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially this now generation, like they'll make fun of you for everything.
They're afraid to be Brandon Knight, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, that was bad.
Still bad.
That one was bad.
But back to what you were saying though, Nico, about ISIS meeting, yeah.
Yeah, and basically, shout out to Tim McMahon for the Hoop Collective, which if no one listens to, it's a great podcast.
Listen to that. Amazing.
Yeah, he basically said, and this is the thing I love about Tim, I love great reporting, is when you like, listen, I'm going to say this thing to your face. I'm right here. We can have this conversation. I'm not ducking you. I'm not sub-dissing you. It's like, basically he was like, dog, you fucked the team up. Like, I'm not going to read, if you want to go read the transcript verbatim, go ahead. But the long and short of it was just like, you basically you're in a no-win situation. You trade away your best player who was 25 at the time. You don't have any of your draft picks, I think, from 27, 28, 29, 30, or 31. Maybe they have 30. But again, like your future picks you don't have.
Yeah.
Your roster, your best player is going to be 34 come the playoffs next year. Your second best player is going to be 32 come the playoffs next year. And then you might add Kevin Durant. Like, this team's the Expendables, if you've ever seen a version of the Expendables. And basically, Nico was just like, yeah, but defense wins championships. Like, when you gotta just say a catchphrase, shows me you ain't got no fucking answers, dog.
Yeah.
And what I really think is happening is, I do think that something happened between Nico and Luca. I can't say. I think. Because here's the thing: you saw that video of Michael Flynn taking the beer from him.
Yeah.
To me, something on a personal level had to happen. I do not think that he just
Michael Finley.
Michael Finley. I don't know to say Michael Flynn.
Yeah.
Michael Finley. Yeah. Took the beer from him.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what the vibe was. Right? Like, something shifted between Nico and Luca.
But you see why I don't. And maybe I'm giving Nico a lot of credit here. I don't think he was that stupid to do what he did. And like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that move doesn't happen without ownership saying, "Hey, let's do it." And from a business decision, fuck basketball like for a second. From a business decision, you gave up Luca, who in ad dollars in a mid-market city is like the biggest thing. He's up there with the biggest markets himself. He's up there with the New York
and
market.
The fifth biggest market in the country.
You know, and like Dallas isn't a mid-market city, but within the NBA they are.
Well, they're number 5. I think the top 5 is we're gonna really check my math.
Yeah.
Maybe you can look this up. Maybe I can get this right. I think it's New York, LA, not in this order, but the top 5 I would say is Dallas, New York, LA, Chicago, and Boston.
Wait, say that list one more time. Sorry.
So I think it is in some order. Boston, New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas.
You got 4 out of 5 correct. I cannot believe.
Hold on. Which one did I get wrong?
Boston.
All right. That was the one I was iffy on. Okay, hold on. Let me guess.
So your first, okay, go number 1. What's number 1?
So my number 1 I think is New York.
Yes. What's 2?
LA.
Yes. What's 3?
Chicago.
Yeah. What's 4? This one might stump you.
And this is one I didn't say.
You did not say this one.
Okay. It might stump me. I wanted to say, this isn't my guess. I want to say Golden State, but that's not my guess yet.
Okay.
In my mind, it's either wait, hold on. Would it be Philly?
It could be. You gotta. It could be.
I'm between Golden State, Philly, and Miami, but I don't think Miami's market's
I'll
that
say
big.
this: Miami is not even top 12.
Yeah, Miami was just because I knew it was a thing. I don't think it's Houston. I'm going with Golden State.
No, it's Philly.
Fuck. God
And
damn
what's
it.
5?
Should have won. Well, my gut. Dallas.
Dallas, yes. So in terms of they're not mid-market at all, but their TV market size is less than 3 million, which I guess I'm comparing it to like football, I guess. And they're definitely not a mid-market level in football. Like the Dallas is probably top 2, top 3, next to New York. But that type of viewership, okay, so like for instance, like New York's TV market size is almost 8 million. The Lakers is almost 6. So within it, they're not mid-market, but their numbers aren't crazy.
It's much lower than the top 2.
It's much lower than the top 2. But with that being said, Luka made them relevant. Luka made like from 20. What was he drafted? 2018.
2018, yeah.
2018. He made them. He's made them relevant. So from a business perspective, dog, it was just a dumb ass deal. It was dumb. It was stupid. So I keep going back to, I think that was an ownership decision, and Nico was the fall guy.
Yes, I think but that's the thing. I think that. So here's the twofold, right? Who suggested the idea? Was it Nico or was it the owner? Because to me, from everything that I can see and from everything that I've read about these guys or these people, the Dumont family, the Alderman / Dumont family, who super Trumpers, by the way. Anyway,
100%, yep, 100%,
um,
100%.
the it seems like they don't know what they're talking about.
In
Like
terms of
every
what?
single time that this dude talks, he seems not to know basketball. And I think
Oh,
what happens a lot of times with these new owners, and you can see what's happening in Phoenix, it's like a toy that they just like can't leave. It's like I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to do something.
yo, my bad to cut you off. I was listening to Club
Shay Shay,
no
Club 520.
20 with with Jeff Teague.
Mm-hmm.
A couple days on Monday, and that on Monday's episode, they were talking about Nico, and Jeff was saying that the owner of the Hawks at the time, when he was at the Hawks, openly told the team, he was like, "Yo, I'm only doing this because my sons want me to own this team. I'm not an NBA guy. I don't watch basketball, but my sons wanted me to own the team because they thought it was cool."
Like I think the hard thing about a lot of this stuff, man, is when you that rich, like stuff like this means something to us, right? Like
Yeah,
we care
yeah,
a lot if our favorite teams win, right? The Yankees win the
yeah,
World Series, it's gonna mean something to you. The Knicks win the championship, that's gonna mean something to me, right? These owners don't give a fuck. Like they in it for the bag. And I think a lot of times what happens is that like they end up wanting to make moves and do stuff and be like, "Oh, I didn't realize it." Like I said, even the way that he spoke about it after the trade was so like, "Oh, you really don't know what you're doing." And so to even get back to the Nico part of this, it's like it's odd because I feel like he should be fired. However, I don't think you can fire him at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's like he got the team to the finals. You know, he did a lot of trades that people didn't like. People didn't like that PJ Washington trade or that Daniel Gafford trade or the Kyrie Irving trade. When Kyrie Irving was nuclear waste at that point. And it got them to 3 wins of a championship. And
yeah.
I think that the bigger thing I want to talk about for this was just the relationship between companies and media now. And I think the fact that the Dallas Mavericks basically didn't allow cameras in, didn't allow certain media in, that's some nonsense. It's like you made this trade. You want fans to be engaged and come with the team and be part of the winning. But you can't get mad at fans when you do something that I think objectively most people would be like, that's fucking stupid. Like we thought Luka committed a crime. Like we were like, yo, did he like assault someone? Is he in tax debt? Like how is he about to, I legitimately thought he was going to get suspended for like a year. Like he did something that bad.
Yeah. For me, that particular thought never entered my mind only because of how ridiculous the trade was. I know some people, and this is to a different thing, people have been speculating with Mike Malone because his exit was so abrupt and like they were just a few days away from the playoffs. But I think the Dallas Mavericks owners are trying to make the team as unattractive as they can humanly do to force the hand of the state of Texas to say, hey, if they want to legalize gambling.
I've heard this. Yeah, I've heard this argument before. Yeah,
because it doesn't make sense to how they're going. It's either this or they're like the dumbest owners of all time in sports.
I really think they are the dumbest owners of all time. Like I am not maybe. I am not a conspiracy theorist just because I feel like a lot of times you can poke holes in a lot of conspiracy theorists, and then when the holes are poked, they just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, true.
And I'm not saying this is you. I'm simply just saying is like, this would be a really fucking weird way to do this. Like, hey man, we're going to tank the team so that we can have gambling, and we're just going to keep tanking the team. It's like I can't speak to the culture of Dallas, right?
Yeah.
One thing I do know, That them boys love football.
Yeah.
And as much as I think that they like the Mavericks, obviously because people like winning, right? So like the more a team wins, the more fans you'll get into it, right? But they don't love them like the Cowboys.
Of course not.
They don't love them like Texas football.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, some of them don't love them as much as Oklahoma football.
Facts.
And so you're pacing third, maybe fourth. Like, people will tune out. Like, so that to me can't really speak to the idea of like, all right, we're gonna tank it so that we force your hand to let us.
Well, to be
gamble?
honest, I think what you said like doesn't like make my point, but like, okay, you have this business.
Mm-hmm.
You guys aren't the hottest thing in town.
Yeah.
But you guys were pretty relevant. You guys were pretty relevant because we had a superstar player, and he's only 25 years old. If we get this team, which they did, and we just went to the finals the year before, so we're relevant.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to then trade our biggest asset and pretty much do a 180 of what we've done as a franchise, now we're new ownership, so no one really knows who we are. If their whole thing is to want to open up a casino in Dallas to make more billions of dollars, which they already did, or
Now I'm going to cut you off.
yeah,
This Chicago-Miami game is the definition of mid-play-in. The Bulls were down by almost 30 points. They cut it to 14.
oh, and how much time left?
It's going to the fourth quarter now.
Oh, they're gonna come back, and it's gonna be a wild ending. But
because that's the only games the Bulls play. These crazy ass games.
Thanks. I had Josh Giddey on my fantasy team, and he single-handedly got me to my final because one game in the first round I was down by like 60 or 80 points, and he threw up like 90 fantasy points, and I ended up winning my game. It was crazy. But anyways, so the alternative is you buy this team in a state that doesn't have legalized gambling, and as a family, we are the premier people who know about gambling because we have a few spots in Vegas already. So either we force them to legalize it, or we force the NBA's hand and move the Mavericks to a city that could use an NBA team.
But
like Dallas doesn't really give a fuck about basketball. You know?
Well, I wouldn't go that far to say they don't give a fuck. I think it's just a fan base for system. Sure. They have a fan base. I don't think they are as talked about as much as like the Cowboys. Now, again, it's hard to compare because the Cowboys are like the number one team and the number one sport in the country. You know, so it's like I think that's a little unfair to compare them to the two. But I guess my pushback on that was something that Tim McMahon said. It's like, okay, let's say you want to do that. You then want to take the team from the 5th highest market we just talked about to the 40th ranked market, where, mind you, you still have competition. You have the Aces, the Athletics going to be there in a year or so. There might be a expansion team there. Well, obviously the Mavericks would take that up, but like you're already in like a very transient city, and like I don't know. I think we give people credit for being smarter than what they are.
Yeah, for sure.
I just think that they were just. I don't think that they really knew the impact that one player can have on the franchise.
Well, you're right about. I think sometimes we let people we put the smart gene onto people when they're really not. They do a lot of dumb shit, and this could have easily. No matter what happened, it's still dumb. It was a dumb decision. The thing is, though, when you said the thing about Vegas being a transient city, I would have to go and like do some research on exactly how many Raiders fans who go to games are flying into Vegas to watch those games versus who live in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But Vegas is a city, and like everywhere in the world right now, for the most part, has seen dwindling numbers because people just don't have any money. People just don't have money to go to Vegas and spend in Vegas or whatever. But if you put an NBA team, no matter where it's from, if you put like a MLB team there, no matter who you put there, people will go watch those games
Mm-hmm.
because it's Vegas.
Yeah.
So I could see if they moved, or if they were talking about moving them to like LA, for example. Like I live in LA, and no, there aren't really real Rams fans in LA. There are. It is a Rams city, but when you go to a game, sometimes there are more like,
Eagles fans or
Raiders
Giants
fans, Eagles
fans, Reds
fans, or
fans. Yeah.
whatever. Same thing for the Chargers. So I could see that, but in Vegas, they travel. They travel to see the Raiders, bro. They really do travel. So I don't think from a business perspective, in the short term, they're losing money like owning the Mavericks. But like I said, like it's either show show the state that we don't give a fuck about this team, and we'll move them if we have to. They will move them, and they'll make money regardless. So I don't think it's more so of a short term play. I think it's like a long term play of like, yo, we could do this now or we could do this later. Let's play ball.
Facts.
You know.
The last
So
little bit of this. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, we really won't know this until the next voting cycle, which is next
Mm-hmm.
year.
Yeah.
If they legalize voting or like gambling next year in Texas, then I think this Luka trade had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Well,
For
but
real.
that remains to be seen, though. It remains to be seen.
Yeah. I agree. Last little bit that I wanted us to touch about was kind of funny because it kind of blew up, I think, when MGK said something, but did you see the White Rapper Hall of Fame or the White Rapper Mount Rushmore?
I think I did, but remind me.
So someone did like an AI generated. They did a White Rapper Mount Rushmore. For those of you who either don't know what the Mount Rushmore is or you're just not from here, Mount Rushmore has the 4 presidents. I don't remember which 4 are exactly on there, but it's 4 presidents. Basically, supposed to be the 4 most important people. So the people that were on the AI generated one was Eminem. This is left to right. So Eminem, Mac Miller, Paul Wall, and Russ were the 4 guys.
Russ.
And then I think, again, that's the thing. A lot of people are like, Russ, you white? Yeah. Shout out to Jersey. But those are the 4 guys. And I think the internet went ablaze, and then MGK basically was like, I need to be on there. Which, my number one rule, because we're about to do our own version of this, like who should be on there. If you switch to rock as like a clear indication of like you don't need your black fans anymore, you can't be on this list. So that goes for him. That goes for Kid Rock. That goes for Yellow Wolf. That goes for Miley Cyrus. That goes for that goes for anybody else. So those are the guys that are on there. I think the top 2 on there, Eminem and Mac, got to stay on there. Unless you think otherwise. Do you think those are the 2 guys
Macklemore? I met
No, not Macklemore. Mac Miller.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
They gotta stay. This might be a hot take. I think you might have to put Macklemore on that list, man. I think you might have to.
I'll say this.
You might have to.
I'll say this. I think the top 2 are locks. I think it's Mac Miller.
See, I think there's top 3, but there's one name that.
No, the third guy, I think I have a strong candidate. I think Paul Wall is a strong candidate. We can have a conversation about him, but I think he is like as close to a lock as you can have as a lock. I will hear conversations about him, but I think he almost is. If we're doing like the Baseball Hall of Fame, someone's 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Paul Wall to me is at 90%.
With that being said, I'll leave my Mac Miller take to the side because that's true. But I still rock some of his music too because I grew up in Florida too, and I always heard that, and I always thought he was dope. So we got Mac Miller, we got Eminem, and Wall.
Yep.
The 4th person on that list, and this might be controversial, It might have to be Drake.
See, dog, we're not doing this.
It might have to.
We're
It might have
not.
to be
We're
Drake.
doing half of Drake is on this. We're just putting like
to,
half his face on this.
It might have to be Drake only because I would say half of his career. Not saying it's been his white side, but it's been away from hip hop, right? And something that you might want to that you could possibly say. And I'm not the type of like Drake is a black artist too, but he also dabbles in the other side too.
I think you're disrespecting a lot of white rappers by saying half of a rapper can beat them out.
But Drake is also Drake, and I think Drake is one of the best of all time, no matter what. Like even with the
I agree, but I think we have enough the purebred whites.
Yeah.
To add a fourth thoroughbred on this
I'm
list.
just being technical with that. Like you're not wrong, but if we're talking about, but it would be like, okay, cool. Let's say in another universe that like Logic was a great, like a really 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 dope rapper, and people said, okay, cool, make a list of your Mount Rushmore for black rappers and white rappers. There would have to be an argument that you could put him on both lists.
That is a hilarious point. Shout out to J. Cole too.
J. Cole too.
But listen, we got all. Someone told me that this M word was a slur, so I'm not going to say it. But the half and halves.
Mulatto.
Well, I heard it was, so I'm not going to say it anymore. So yeah, that's funny. I think it's funny. My fourth guy.
Who's your fourth?
My fourth guy was actually someone underrated, and actually, I didn't come up with this myself. I had to read it from some comments.
Mm-hmm.
I think anytime you do a list with hip hop, I like to see if there's all elements of hip hop. I'm not about to do the whole 5 tenets of hip hop.
Yeah.
But I think that like a producer should be on some things, or like someone like that. Like
I think I know who you're about to say.
Yeah. I think LP should be the fourth guy.
Oh, you're going to say LP? Oh, that's...
Who do you think I was going to say? Alchemist?
I thought you were going to say Alchemist.
No, man. I think LP should get the fourth spot.
That's not
and mind you, I think the three I said are locks, and I can have a discussion. I would not put MGK on that or Russ.
Oh, no. Well, to be honest, though, and I always liked Russ. Even when people hated Russ, I always liked Russ. Mm-hmm. But I've never considered him as a white rapper. Is that a thing?
Well, his skin color will tell you different. But yes, I get your point.
Well, yeah, but I thought he was
he is not leaning into the whiteness. He is like the Tyler Hero of rap.
See, I always thought he was like Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh, got you. One of them Hartensteins?
Yeah, I thought he was a Hartenstein.
Are you a Isaiah or are you a Zeke?
Yeah, no, seriously, I really thought homie was, cause I didn't know he was white. I thought he was just, or not even white. I thought he was mixed with Dominican, and black.
From his own tweet, they even said Russ, you white, and he said yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I know.
So yeah, that's why I'm saying. That's why he put himself on the list.
Word. But you're fourth. I love LP. That's a really good. That's not a. But the thing about Mount Rushmores, which are always why I think so many arguments come from Mount Rushmores, you can only pick 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I really thought about white rappers that I love, I could come up with 4, not other rappers, because I think M and Mac are 100% locks. But I could find 2 other white rappers if I did some research that I listen to in my own music library, who I might be oh shoot, I love this dude. I love Alchemist. I love a few other guys too who produce, who write, or rap as well, or just rap. But I'd have to think about it. But that's not a bad list. But I think there is an argument to be had that Drake might have to be on this list.
All right, I really feel like that needs to be the Tyler's episodes. What list can Drake not be on?
Right.
that was fun. All right, Nick, that's what we're gonna wrap up here.
Can I ask you one more question before we wrap?
Sure, man.
Shoot, tell me about what are we 12 games into the MLB season?
Right? More than that. I think we're almost at 20.
Almost at 20.
Because I know the Mets are 11-6, so they're 17 games in.
Yes. How do you feel about your Mets so far and Juan Soto? Do you feel the energy change that I felt last year as a Yankee fan.
So I've told you this, and I'll stand by this. Baseball will never matter to me until Memorial Day, because
Yeah,
there's too many games, there's too many weird outcomes. I mean, Pete Alonso's hitting like 340, right? He's not going to do that. Do I think the energy shifts? I mean, it's tough because they only played like 6 home games.
Yeah, true.
You know, so like they've been on the road for a lot of the season. You know, to start the year, they just lost to Minneapolis, and then they're going to go to St. Louis for 4 games. I have to check if that's at home or in St. Louis. I think it's in St. Louis. And I feel good. You know, the pitching's been great. He's hitting okay. He's getting mostly walks. Vientos and Beatty is really the bottom of the lineup that hasn't really been hitting.
That was just last year too. Didn't like it.
But to me, like it's going as well as it could go, I think, unless you're just like, yo, Juan Soto needs to be like smacking 6-7 home runs, you know? And I just don't think that he is. I think it's going to take him longer to heat up. I don't think he's going to have the season he had last year with the Yankees, because you had Judge behind him. He had 41 home runs in his season. He's never been a guy that's hit 41 home runs. To me, Juan Soto is closer akin to, I think, a Mookie Betts kind of hitter, where Mookie can hit 40 home runs.
Yeah.
But he more or less lives around 25 to 35. That's kind of the number of bombs you're going to get, right? But a guy who hits a lot of average and is just going to drive in a ton of runs, you know? That, to me, is what his role is. And as you've seen right now, it's like you see his effect, right? Pete's having an awesome start to the season because they're not pitching to Juan, you know? And I think it will be frustrating for him. I think I don't want to say he's frustrated per se, but I definitely think that he's feeling it because teams are pitching to him. Now, if you're the great player that you are, which I think he is, you got to adjust. Right? Yeah. You got an all-star in front of you in Lindor. You got an all-star behind you in Pete Alonso, right? You got to come through. Like he had, I just watched the game today. I only watched a couple of innings, but they lost to the Twins. But it was bases loaded, 1 out, top of the 5th, and the Twins made a pitching change. They brought in their not a closer. They brought in like one of their relievers, who I think he hasn't given up a hit to a left-handed batter. And then it was a weak ground ball right to the first baseman. He tagged Lindor, stepped on the bag, and inning was over. And that killed the rally. Well, they didn't kill the rally. The Mets came back and tied it, but they ended up losing at the end. But the point is that I think, especially in baseball, I do not judge guys, good or bad, in April. I think it's dumb. I've seen Lindor hit like 100 in April. And then come back and hit like 270, 280.
Dog, last year with Judge had one of the worst starts to his time in the MLB ever. And
one MVP.
From June to the end of the regular season, had statistically the best season of any hitter of all time. Or it was top 2, but with newer metrics, it was the best one of all time. So yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why April to me is a weird time in baseball. Take it. I just throw it out. Like I said, once we hit Memorial Day, that's when the season really kicks into gear. And that's when you know. And again, like the Braves are like 4-12. I don't think the Braves are going to be that bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They definitely, I don't think they'll win the division. I think that's, you're not coming back from that.
Yeah.
But to make the playoffs, I still think they're still a live dog. I mean, when me and Lane did the podcast, we both picked them to win the division.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm fine. You know, I'm happy with the way the team is. I've watched, it's funny, all the games I've watched, they lost, which is maybe I'm just a bad luck charm. But I'm good. It's a long season. There's 150 something games to go. So.
Yep. Well, all right, my brother.
All right, man.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. I know the Yankees are off to a decent start as well. But again,
Nah,
Save.
yeah, we won. We just won. I don't know how. We were up 1-3. The Royals tied it, and we just won 4-0. So I'm pretty sure we probably hit like a walk-off home run.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I'll check out. I can't see the stats for whatever reason. I see half stats. I don't see the full game stats. But yeah. I like where we are. I think the Juan Soto trade might have been, or not trade, him not signing with us might have been the best thing to happen to us because we got to spend money in other areas that we needed that we would
Mm-hmm.
not have. Having a guy like Juan, I think Juan willed us to the World Series. His swag, his bravado, and him hitting behind Judge was great. Like you couldn't throw to Judge, so you had to throw to somebody. And so we need the swag back. And so far, we got guys like Jason Dominguez, um,
Ben
what's
Rice.
his Ben
Is it Ben
Rice? That's
Rice?
who.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about Ben Johnson for some reason, but Rice Dominguez is actually like fielding very well. I didn't think he would be feeling this well so far, but he's hitting the ball. Volpe's hitting. Um, uh, Goldschmidt is playing really well. Um, Bellinger has been a bit of a slide like recently, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, he's playing all right. Jazz is playing well. His last like 20 something at bats have been horrible, but in total, he's been all right. So I think we'll be good. We got to get healthy. We get Schmidt back this week. Oh, we got Schmidt back this Royals game, and he didn't win the game because I think he got taken out in the fourth.
Mm.
But I like where we are, but we have to get healthy, and I think we have to be active at the trade deadline. We could use another because we don't get Gill back until like mid to late June,
Yeah.
so we'll see. But anyways, always great talking to you. And yeah, let's run this back soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks again to Nick, producer extraordinaire. Thank you guys again for listening to the Men Who Cry podcast. Like, subscribe, review, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
You, peace.